All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
And if you wish to go into the courts to help people, I'll give you all the knowledge with that as well. Okay? And you can go in as many types of characters as you want. One of them, of course, is friend of the court. Call it for what it is, as opposed to a McKinsey friend or anything else. It's a friend of the court, which means you're a friend of the judge, the clerk of the court, and so on and so forth. Okay? That is that. I want to go to you in the world of the courtroom. I just want to get a quick feel of how many people know what I mean by a courtroom. Anybody here know what a courtroom is? Call it out, please.
It's a joke.
It's a place of business.
Okay. What does it literally mean, a courtroom?
Is it a vessel in dry dock?
Where a contract is agreed.
It's where a game is played. One court.
Correct. What he said is a courtroom is a place where games are played. And the game is vocabulary. That's the game that they're going to play with you, and you have to learn that vocabulary, albeit dictate your own vocabulary. A courtroom, by definition, is also a level playing field, which means I cannot purposely disable a person by putting them 10 feet below me and expect them to play the tennis ball at me. That's already a disability, and that's not a playing field. But when you walk into a court, you have multi-layers. One sitting on this layer, one sitting on this plane, and they're known as planes. So, to your subconscious, they already told you it's not a playing field. Whatever this is not a court. Okay? So the judge is sitting on the highest plane, who doesn't actually exist in a courtroom, because under maritime law, anything of a plane is not in that world. The judge doesn't exist in that world. Anything that's outside of a level playing field doesn't exist there. Anything in a box is a hole in the territory of that courtroom. When you go into a box, like a witness box or a stand, you've just disappeared out of the court. You're in a vacuum. And if it's got a fence around it, that's your prison. You've volunteered to go into that prison. And you can try it. Go in there voluntarily and leave, you'll get arrested straight away. Because now you see me, now I'm back in your jurisdiction. Arrest that man, because he didn't ask permission to leave. If you go into a box, it's all over. The judge has full control over you, and now at this stage, the judge is not even a judge. He's the captain of his vessel, because a courtroom under maritime law is a vessel in dry dock. You've actually walked into a trap. Yeah? That's why I teach everybody the first thing you need to do is remove the boxes and the planes. So as soon as you walk in, I remove all boxes and planes from this court. Full stop. That's a level playing field. When that happens, you can say what you need to say. Okay? Everybody is level playing field. Full stop. How many layers there are in a court, or planes or levels, it no longer matters. You don't ever go into a box, because that box is not within that territory. It's a place where nothing exists. It's a vacuum. A hole in the territory of the courtroom. Okay? That is why a judge can dismiss the jury and say and instruct the jury to do whatever they need to do, whatever he wants them to do. Dismiss them or say, find him not guilty or guilty. Because they're not in the courtroom. That's advertised because they sit on a plane. Yeah? If you don't remove the boxes, the jury will not be sitting on level playing field. Full stop. Okay? When you prepare the documents that I teach you, you go into a different jurisdiction. That's the jurisdiction of federal law and maritime as well. And that will safeguard you. Because when you prepare your document like this, with a postage stamp across it, and listen very carefully, that makes you the judge in this courtroom, which is this. And it makes you the bank. The money that you have is the money you keep. It makes you a banker, so you can bank money. And you move out of the new jurisdiction that you want. How is this possible? How is it possible? Remember the words plain sight. Everything has been plain sight. So I will now explain to you how the UPU essentially walked into every country in the world. I beg your pardon, almost every country, or 99 point something countries. There are a few that have not joined up. In other words, they don't have letter service. It's very simple. What they did is that they came in and they said, look, he's African, I'm Singapore. You guys want to speak to each other, don't you? We'll create a letter system. Okay? And we'll use maritime law to operate that. So that will be the currency, the postage stamp. As long as that postage stamp is in that letter, we have full jurisdiction of that vessel as it travels between this point and that point. And each country treaties with each other, or treaties with me as the UPU, to safeguard those letters as it moves from one point to the other on this planet. And that treaty allows the postmaster, the post carrier, the letter carrier, without any hindrance, to freely move through any territory that's treated with him, deliver that letter, and move away safely. One ship docking with another ship, hence it carries a docket number. In order for me to be able to give you that mechanism, I had to put some fail-safe devices in. Fail-safe. And this is where I catch them out with. Because they created a near legal, perfect legal system to oversee the deliverance of this letter. The correct word is livery, not delivery, because DE means no livery. Remember in the olden days we used to call it livery. Yeah? It was known as livery. So what they did is they say, look, anybody coming under that jurisdiction of the postal system, anybody that misuses it to write poison pen letters or alter things or try to extract money, come under a very powerful international law known as federal law. And that's what governs all letters, because under maritime law, all paper is vessel. That's why it carries a stationary office. All paper has to be sanctioned as legal paper. A4, A5, all of that is their jurisdiction. Yeah, it belongs to them. If it carries a stamp, you've added value to that document, which means you paid for your freight, and it's protected by them. And guess who protects the authenticity, the authority, the ley lines, the route lines, the pony expresses, the tram lines? The military. The military will safeguard this. Okay, that's how powerful these things are. So, if anybody has any problem with this service, they created an independent territory, treated to them, called a fiduciary service, which you guys now know as courtrooms. And they said, anybody writing poison pen letters and so on and so forth, anybody conveying fraudulent language or trying to extract money, come automatically under federal systems. And to oversee that problem, we will create an international territory where everybody can come together in paper form, contract, document, contract, vessel, or face-to-face with a highly trained fiduciary to say, what's wrong, Carl? What's happened? Well, it's this Mark. He sent me a bill for £50. And it's not £50, it's actually 50p. And it might be 50p. The fiduciary will now say, you've sent this bill to him, can you show me evidence of it being £50? So I will look at the letter and I will look at my paperwork and see somebody's moved the decimal point. Sorry, Errol. So I would send back the letter saying, sorry, it's only 50p. Perfectly fine. So the matter is now settled under the fiduciary system. Same case scenario. I now cannot produce evidence for that claim. So it's not 50p, it's not £50, not £50,000, but I cannot produce any claims. If I can't produce the claim, it's now a federal crime. I've used the post office to extract money from him, which is a crime. I can't send him a letter saying that he owes me something without proof of claim. I've used this transport mechanism to extract money. That's a crime. And there's a paper trail leading right to me. And that's where you get them. And within Miller's technology, it says if you alter the language that we all agreed upon, Federal Styles Manual, that we all agree upon what a full stop means is a full stop, and what an aborigine means aborigine, you alter that, then you come under a title. That's the claim, that's the fraudulent conveyance of language. Fraudulent claims of language. And you got them. You've used the post office, the postal system to extract money. You're now under the law of the fiduciary federal system. You have evidence for their lies. And you have evidence for them extracting money, which is a crime in any language, any period in time, however corrupt it may be. And these systems are thousands of years old. Thousands of years old. It's just the UPU came up with it in a slightly different way, in a modern way. And in doing so, which is the trick that Miller exposed, they slipped in the true intention of why they're offering you a perfect legal system to get your trust. And in between that, they slip in the ability to capture every single vessel on this planet. Because the people that issue you your passport is the same people. Passport. Ports, docket numbers. The people that move vessels about are the same people. Whether that's a ship or you are the vessels. You are all under the jurisdiction of the federal system. Do you get it now? Yeah? Who pays the judges?
Post office.
Post office pays it. Who pays the military to safeguard the transport of vessels, to protect the assets, protect the people and the assets and the lines of communication? The military. Do you see it, how powerful it is? I'm going to show you in evidence form, because I did say I will qualify everything I say when I show you what executive orders are. There are, since the 1960s, they've been putting in executive orders to take over the planet, which is capturing of petroleum, capturing of every single vessel on this planet, every land, so on and so forth. Most of it is actually on your land at this moment, like FEMA camps and so on and so forth. In Britain, they said it was for East Europeans to house them. Nothing of the sort. They are FEMA camps. Yeah? What's that place in France? Saint-Gard. Yeah? That's full of security guards. They're waiting for it to fill. In the US, these FEMA camps are already in place. There are thousands of people already in there. Yeah? These camps are for us. They're for you. And so on and so forth. So, the executive orders state that they're going to take over under an act of war. By the way, this country now has a military on the land for the first time. They demonstrated that in the Olympics.
Foreign military.
No, British military.
Well, and it's foreign as well.
There is only one military. It's all, yeah. Okay. So, I'll show you how vast and how powerful the mechanism is that I'm teaching you guys. And you can punch it up on your cell phone as I speak. Executive Order 10995, the entire communications industry, which they have now, by the way. Executive Order 10997, all petroleum, electricity, minerals, which they have now. Executive Order 10988, food resources and farm, Monsanto. Executive Order 10999, all transportation, highways, seaports. Executive Order 11000, government mobilization of civilian work brigades. Hasn't happened yet. Executive Order 11001, all health, education and welfare, which has already taken place. Now, essentially, I've only read out a few of the things. And now comes the double whammy, because they're essentially taking over the entire running of this planet. And now listen to this. Executive Order 11002, Postmaster General, registered persons, full stop. What the hell has a postmaster got to do with taking over the entire planet? It's there, but people don't see it. Because a postmaster has the ability to move through treaty, as long as he's paid for his stamp, to any territory where the UPU is treated with, which is almost every country on the planet. It also allows you to walk to any embassy, make your argument, move out. It allows you to go to the CIA headquarters, make your argument, and move out safely, because you are the postmaster. Abraham Lincoln was a letter carrier. It's in your history. They make it prominent. He was a letter carrier. He was a postmaster. Yeah, that's the power of these bureaucracies in place, and that's the power that I use, taught to me by Miller and a few other people, to be able to safely go into a courtroom, say what you need, and without any harassment, just simply walk out. You have a question?
I just wondering, is it UPU?
Universal Postal Union. Universal Postal Union. Bern, Switzerland, where all your money is printed, where all of your military takes place as well. Are you guys okay with that? Can I move on to a different subject?
What were you reading from now?
I beg your pardon?
What were you reading from? You know, you left it
Oh, executive orders.
issued by the UPU.
No, this is executive orders when the military has to take over because of some incredible threat to the general world's population, which they normally create themselves. But they are expecting trouble. We're in that era now. We're probably in that year now. Yeah, because they'll be trying to get rid of postmasters very soon. I'll put a stop to that. Yes, please go on.
Who actually creates the executive orders?
The Prime Minister of those countries and the presidents of those countries.
And who's actually instructing the Prime Minister?
The UPU.
UPU?
Yeah.
So who exactly is that body?
The IMF family, the Vatican. There is no separation between the conscious mind and the subconscious. It's the belief that you hold that created that separation. The belief is put inside of you with the words that you use to create the separation. If you believe that I am different to you, then I am different to you. Full stop. Since I was a child, I have been working on methods on being able to fuse those two minds, which are not two minds. It was just told to me that it was, but there are no left brain, right brain hemispheres. It's been separated by the corruption of the language, which they did. And that creates a delusion. Also creates a process known as mental cognitive dissonance. That's a safety mechanism, and they're running on it. I have the ability to remove that now. I'm able to remove mental dissonance from you. That is one element of what I have. The ability to be able to, should we say, for a better word, engineer, to be able to engineer a character strong enough to be able to pull down any judge or politician or just banish these agencies from your world is what also I train people to do. And I've been training these people now for 4 years, and I call them euphemistically my ambassadors. But they're not my ambassadors. These are men and women that are in possession of their own thoughts and their own minds. And those are the only people that I can work with. And I develop that to a level where they have full control in the world that they live in, as every single animal on this planet has. Yeah? The mental dissonance that people create is to create everlasting separations, more diverse than one can possibly imagine. They justify things as being right and wrong and good and evil and so on and so forth. They would even believe that their pet dog has lesser feelings than you do, when you quite clearly see the dog crying if you do anything bad to it. It mourns for its children just like anybody else does. And if you do not know that, I won't work with you. I simply won't work with you. If you think a horse or whatever it is, or an ant, is anything less than you, I won't work with you. You're going to have to be in a frame of mind that you know that the world you live in is revolving relative to you. Okay? That is one. The other things that I'm doing, I can't reveal on camera, but if you speak to me, I'll let you know what it is, the other things that I'm doing. Okay? I don't go into the world of mysticism and so on and so forth. I speak as facts are. When I express an opinion, I express it as an opinion, and you will know it as an opinion, which means it's just nothing. When I'm speaking about making statements, I qualify my statements. If I'm saying facts, I will qualify my facts, and I'll give you the evidence for it. And that's why you all have phones, and you punch it up, and you read it. Okay? What is my vision? My vision is that I'm free, and so are you. There is no separation between me and my subconscious. That's an illusion. That can be bridged. And I've refined my training programs to a point where you essentially will be able to do what you want as an honor-bound, duty-bound man or woman going about their business. I have the power to shut down the economy. I have the power to shut down governments, so on and so forth, agencies and so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. And that's what I'll be rolling out before Christmas. Sorry, before summer. Yeah, months to come. And they will plan assassination, character assassination attacks and so on and so forth. So be it. I long time ago made a covenant with myself, and I did so as a child. I will do exactly what I want to do, and I know what is correct, and I know what the rest is not. I only know that which is correct. That's how your subconscious mind works. That's how the lie detector works. It alerts you to the fact that 2 times 2 is 4. Anything else is not. If you can make that transition, you will understand how the subconscious mind works. My friend Tony Wright wrote a book called Left in the Dark. It talks about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is what nature gave you. Okay? It can see 18 kilometers away. It can hear things 5-6 kilometers away. And I, being somewhat sexually orientated as well, I can smell every single woman on this room. And I have no problem saying it, and I'm very comfortable with it. And if you guys are not comfortable with it, tough luck. What is it that I'm saying? Your subconscious also has the ability to think 120 times faster than your conscious mind. It's 120 times faster. Any tricks that you perform, it will cancel it out at a click of a finger. Click of a finger. That includes judges, governments, and so on and so forth. That's why they go to great lengths to put these things in the public as facts. They give you the lie and the truth at the same time. The conscious mind goes for the lie because it's an empty vessel floating in a sea of space. The conscious mind stays with the facts. That is why they have to incriminate themselves. They have to incriminate themselves. Otherwise, your subconscious mind is going to plop out. You've heard many cases where people have done what appears to be miraculous things in strength. Well, that's because when you're operating fully at a subconscious level, that means your subconscious is no longer subconscious but dominant. It is the dominant operating system, which happens millions of times a day. It's just that you don't know it. If that kick-starts your psychomotor skills, and I have the strength to pick this man up and throw him to that side, if he harms me or shows me to do harm. Other than that, it will just stand down because it's not a violent creature. It can perform no violence because it doesn't recognize it. It can tell no lie because it does not recognize it. Yeah? The way that the judges, the High Court judges, the really high ones, they're the ones that also corrupt your language. They're also in the center of those secret societies. They're the ones that own the dictionaries. They're the ones that publish the dictionaries. That's why they have second edition, third edition, and they use one word now that's a completely different meaning. You change the meaning of a word, you change the entire language. You are speaking Chinese, it's just that you don't know it. If you lie to the subconscious, if I put you on a lie detector machine, what will happen? If I ask you a question, what will happen and you don't tell the truth? It will alert you to something is wrong. Carl Gustav Jung discovered that. You can bypass a lie detector machine by doing mathematical calculations in your head or playing chess. That's how they break the lie detector test. But the point is, there is something inside of you that constantly alerts you to the facts are the facts and the facts and the facts. Initiate that. No judge, no attorney, no government, nobody can lie to you because it will go lie, lie, lie. But it's actually saying these are the facts, these are the facts, these are the facts, these are the facts, these are the facts. Stay with the facts, stay on point, stay on point, stay on point. Do not allow yourself to be interrupted. Do not allow yourself to be interrupted. It's fact, fact, fact. That's what it's alerting to you to. If I'm in court and somebody gives me something, I ain't interested. If somebody passes me a document across the table, I get my pen out and perform a forensic test on it because I don't take jurisdiction on it. So I just look at it and just throw it back at them. Yeah? Not interested. You want to communicate with me, you communicate using recognized methods of transport. Keep it in the federal jurisdiction, which I did for him. Hence, they don't even recognize that he got convicted now. You're going to have to get over this process that they have power over you. They don't.
It's all about the mail fraud you were asking.
Yeah, it's to bypass it. That's why they try to bypass the court system by performing a mail fraud. They rather suffer mail fraud than have that entire institution removed, essentially.
Can you forewarn them what your intentions will be, or do you wait for court?
I don't know what that means.
I would wait for court. We've done it both ways, and it worked a lot better when we went off of when we submitted the documents first.
I suppose what I'm saying is when I don't know what that means is giving the opportunity to rephrase it.
Is there any point in trying to derail a corporate attack on you before it gets to court?
Yes, which is to syntax the document as a fraudulent piece of cargo.
We found there's great ignorance, or they would pretend there's great ignorance. They don't understand.
Look,
They use that against us.
look. You know, the reason why Michael was here is because he had success with what I do, and those are the only things that I can speak about. What other people do, I'm not really interested in, because this is just what happens to people that don't know how to fight it. When you start to mention titles and so on and so forth, they get really frightened because they can type these things up and oh bloody hell, it's there. It's there. Now, I'll come on to a slight subject, slightly indirect. As you know, every judge has, what's the word? They have immunity. I can't pronounce the word judicial immunity, so help me out here.
Judicial immunity.
I can't hear. I'm deaf. You know.
Judicial immunity.
What does that mean?
They use it so they don't have to answer anything. They basically go into judicial immunity when they're breaking the rules.
What if I got a great big bit of stick and bashed you over the head? Do I have immunity?
If you're a judge and you're right in a degree of masonry, then yeah.
What if I did the most grotesque things that you can imagine? Do I still have immunity?
They do. No, you have exception.
Speak the facts. I'm not interested in your guesses at this stage in your training. I simply am not interested in your guesses. If you want to guess, you can take it outside. Give me the facts. Are you really telling me, if I'm a judge, I can perform anything that I want? Anything that I want?
No, absolutely not. No.
Anything.
Judicial immunity for the decisions that they might make or conclusions they arrive at, but not for physical torts.
Are you sure? Because my friend Russell Gould, he was bashed over the head, taken out of court, spent 90 days in interrogation where they tortured him, pumped him full of drugs, stopped his heart, restarted it. He's the one that learnt all these mechanisms. He put his own body at risk to teach us, or teach me really. So they have full immunity. Who do we know has the right to do such things? In medieval times or any of these things, who has the right to do that?
Which form the general?
Kings. Kings have the right to do that. Who's the kings that's running your court, who's running your country? There are thousands of them. It's the judges. The judges are openly telling you, we are performing as kings because we are kings in our courtroom. Who else has the right to do that? No, you don't. Captains of their vessels. If I'm the captain of my vessel, if I see it correct, if I see it's the judgment that I should pull my weapon out and shoot this man, no law on this planet will question me. Judges, captains of their vessels, and kings and queens have the right to do that. And that's how the judges control the politicians, the governments, the bankers, the social care workers, the whatever it is. Every single thing that you can imagine that they are controlling, that is man and woman bound. They're the kings and queens of your country. Full stop. I wish to bring in, like most things, I have closure, I have solution. I don't give problems without a solution. To give you an idea of the workings of the subconscious mind, can somebody read me the text? Your subconscious mind is actually making full sense of that. That's just garbage. There's nothing there. But it's making full sense of that. Now, if I took, say, half an hour out and wrote that out properly, which I haven't done so because I didn't have the time, you'd be able to read that. 99% of the words are missing. And your subconscious is working. It's searching every part of your brain to make sense of that. Yeah, it's making sense of that. That's the subconscious mind. Only the subconscious mind can do such things. Only the subconscious mind can pick up a pen and write an autograph, or perform the thousands of psychomotor skills, firing of muscles, thousands of muscles to keep you standing or balancing. It's there all the time. It's making sense of that. That is the subconscious mind working, and your subconscious mind will be able to make 100% success of that. You'll be able to read that accurately. They knew this, the judges, the ones that corrupt the language, and what they did is they used the same system by creating dualities. They're saying, well, that's not really what that means. That's not really what it means, because you have no evidence that's not what it means, and nor do they. But as long as they get you to believe it means something else, you're reading that. But your subconscious mind, being the being the truthful creature that it is, will make 100% success of that. I brought this in as a two-edged sword because I wanted to show you the gifts that nature gave you is the very thing that they're using against you. Like you have a weight, they push the weight out of balance. You have a pattern of thought, and they interrupt that pattern of thought as an interruption. And we call that a handshake interruption. In hypnosis, they call it a handshake interruption. In people that went to old schools, and I mean old school thinking, they just called it, shut up, don't interrupt me.
That's right, yeah.
Which you need to take full possession of. If you interrupt me, well, that's not courtesy. And the word courtesy comes from the behavior in a courtroom. You guys are okay with that? Mm-hmm. Can you read that there for me? Yeah. That's what that means. Somebody read that up for me.
Except as otherwise provided in this section, whoever, in any matter within the jurisdiction of the executive, legislative or judicial branch of the government of the United States, knowingly and willfully, falsifies, conceals or cover up by any trick, scheme or device a material fact, makes any materially false, fictitious or fraudulent statement or representation, or makes or uses any false writing or document, knowing the same to contain any materially false, fictitious or fraudulent statement or entry, shall be fined under this title, imprisoned for not more than 5 years, or if the offence involves international or domestic terrorism, as defined in section 2331, imprisoned not more than 8 years, or both. If the matter relates to an offence under chapter 109A, 109B, 110 or 117 or section 1591, then the term of imprisonment imposed under this section shall not be more than 8 years. B, subsection A does not apply to a party to a judicial proceeding or that party's counsel for.
Yeah, I don't want to scroll down any further, otherwise it gets... What have you just guys read?
Shut up or I'll let you go dead. Pretty much.
Yeah, you lie to the conscious mind, you tell the truth to the subconscious. The subconscious knows that. Now you have titles. You are now in first person knowledge. You now know there is no such thing as... Somebody pronounce that word for me, please. Judicial. No bloody such thing. And that's what I thought, Toby. Because I forced the judge to make joinder. Yeah? When he joins, judicial immunity disappears. The reason why it disappears is because he never took jurisdiction. It's the pretense. They hide behind these words because he never took jurisdiction. He's not on that plane. He doesn't even exist in that courtroom. Anybody in a plane is not in court. They're on a different plane. You might as well be in Mexico. Anywhere apart from the courtroom. The only person that has jurisdiction is the one that autographed and made joinder with that document, which is the clerk of the court. The clerk of the court uses the judge that's sitting up there as the puppet. And that way he just performs all the tricks and performs no jurisdiction. So when you sue him, sue me what? I wasn't there. That's maritime law, it's there. Anything in a plane, that's in your sports, that's in your language, that's in everything. He's not there. How can he take jurisdiction? You lie to the conscious mind and you tell the truth to the subconscious, called stand down. Yeah? You just look at a facet of what people's beliefs take them into doing what they do, has to show you how easy it is to hijack the conscious mind. Now that you have first person knowledge, ain't going to work, is it? Because the reason why he has judicial immunity is because he was never there. That's the trick. That's the illusion. He was never there. So when Errol sued, made a complaint about what happened, because he got convicted while he was hospitalized or bed or something, the judge threw out the evidence. It had a doctor's note in it hospital, blah, 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 all the evidence there, he threw it out. He did that very easily because he was never there. So you sue a person that's never there. The person that made joinder is the one that you must speak to. Yeah? He's the one that did what he did, but he got me to believe it was her that was sitting in the court. That's why this lecture, this workshop is called The Tricks and Traps of the Courts, of the governments and the corporation. It's a trick. The trick is now over. They can no longer use the courtrooms to remove the commercial energy, the sweat equity of you, and use their courtrooms as a conduit to back the Regis, Bern, Switzerland, Vatican, and all these places. Game's over. You don't have the mechanism. Your train is not running on that rail anymore. I've just blown it out. Albeit, sorry, Miller has blown it out. And I'm doing it in this country. You have a question?
Yeah, I've lost the connection with judicial immunity and I'm sorry, I'm just saying I've lost that connection.
Yeah, they got you to believe there's such thing as judicial immunity by saying that they're immune from it doing anything that they want, yeah? And I'm saying to you, you're bloody right. If you ever believe a judge was in the courtroom. He was never in the courtroom. He never signed anything. He's sitting on a different plane. He's not there. His name doesn't appear on anything. Only after he's convicted you does his name appear, because you've mitigated your crime.
So you put him in the courtroom by saying, I remove all claims.
Yeah.
So he's there, and so then he has to be, as Tony did, then he has to be absolutely so careful what he said. The judge in front of Tony actually said nothing.
Is it wearing a disguise?
Yeah.
So I remove all kinds of boxes.
Yeah.
If he didn't say so, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when he started talking to me, I said, who's addressing me? And he wouldn't tell me.
Yeah. Clerk of the court is. The clerk of the court is addressing him. The clerk of the court is typing it, and he has a screen in front of him, and he reads it. If it's in the Queen's Bench, it's usually just a very expensive computer screen. He'll be sitting there. He'll be reading it directly off of there. Clerk of the court will be typing it up.
Actually, she was the most flustered person in that courtroom. Yeah.
Who was?
The clerk of the court. It was a she, and she
Yeah.
was the most. Sorry, no, she was really the most flustered.
Yeah. Huh? Beg your pardon? Oh yeah. Is there any questions? Sorry, you're pointing at me for Carl. Oh, I see a question. Okay.
I did the same thing. Removed the boxes and the claims. How come the judge was able to then ignore my document and ignore what?
I can't hear you.
I did the same thing. I removed the boxes and the planes, and actually did it 3 times throughout the hearing. So how come the judge, if then she was on the same plane as me, was able to ignore my documentation?
Was there any planes and boxes in the courtroom, or is it level playing field, everybody in the bench, chairs, and so on and so forth?
Tables and chairs, and she was elevated by 1 step.
Okay, then she is not. Then she doesn't know what that document really is.
Yeah, she seemed to act like that, because at one point...
If she doesn't know what it is, she'll be acting out in ignorance, but she cannot withdraw the document because it's got stamps on it, and it's got a serial number on it. It's in federal jurisdiction. What you have to do is develop the language to keep him in that jurisdiction. If you don't have the language, you cannot hold a person down. I can hold a person down verbally very easily. I can hold every single one of you here in this room verbally in control. I can keep that control very easily. You can try it. You can call my bluff if you want. I'm kind of a flirtatious person as well. Hence he teaches me dancing. Called coquetry. We're the only species on this planet where the male doesn't perform coquetry. A very profound statement there. Everything else in nature, it's the male that performs the coquetry. The flirtatious behavior, the dressing up, the lipstick. I'm the one that's supposed to be wearing the lipstick and the skirt and so on and so forth. We're the only species. These things are in plain sight. This happened not so very far back in your history, when these people came in and corrupted your language. They made it so clear to you when they corrupted it, they even said, let's go forth and corrupt them. Let's go forth and make them babble. Let's go forth and dismantle them. And then they said God did it. That's biblical. Yeah? This is when your society got twisted. We became very different from the rest of the animals on our planet. Women are performing the role of male. Men are performing the role of females. I kid you not. There isn't a single animal on this planet that performs coquetry as a female. Yeah? So you guys have to spend most of your wages looking really quite good for us blokes. Whereas in reality, it's supposed to be us folks, us blokes, that are supposed to be doing it for you. Because you have the ability to replicate. Sorry, wrong word. You have the ability to give birth. Yeah? Maritime expression. Look it up. Very profound statement. My theology teacher gave me a round of applause for spotting that one out. These are moments in your history. I know it's laughable. These are moments in your history where the world was changed for you. Once upon a time, you used to read from right to left. They forced it on you to read from left to right. You read from right to left, your subconscious reads faster. Scans through thousands of words. So they forced you to read it the other way, slowing it down. Essentially got you to perform counting sheep, to say 2 times 2 equals 4 sheep. You put the symbolism in, you slow down the operating system. And that corruption goes on all the time. So you cannot even calculate at this stage in our education period your interest rate on your mortgage. Am I right, Ray?
Yeah.
How the hell did that happen? How did that happen? People cannot calculate their interest rate on their mortgage. That's by design. Yeah, that's by design. Have I driven home the point of how disabled they got you, thinking that they have immunity? They have no immunity, because it's there. It says so. I didn't write that. Look it up. Title 18, Section 1001. Look it up for yourself. That's federal. So, lady, you now know no judge on this planet has what he says. Pull him off the bench or tell him to F off, which you have the power to do. Yeah? Any questions?
The executive orders you quoted earlier, which jurisdiction or which bodies issued those orders? Was it like which territory they come from?
If the country is in a state of emergency, in a state of war, these executive orders take place automatically.
But you said, so who is this country signed up to it? And is it all the UPU countries that are signed up to these executive?
Okay, let me rephrase it. I have a population in my city, in my country, of 2 people. I'm the commander-in-chief of that population. If there is war, I take full control over the other person. Have I made myself very clear? There is no difference between another person and 1 trillion people standing. If there is an act of war, then that executive order comes into operation, which has happened all the time in World War I, World War II. It's sitting there all the time. But this particular one that's going to come will be final. This will be final. This one will be final. You won't be able to come out of it. You will not be able to come.
Some numbers. I was just wondering who's actually drafted or issued these orders.
That's the seat. No, that's the seat of what's known as the presidency or the prime minister.
Of this territory or the US?
No, whichever. Prime Minister here or
No, but these orders orders have already been given numbers, which means they're already there in place, aren't they?
Correct.
That's right. So I was just asking which territories.
I just answered that question. Is there a prime minister in this country?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a president in some other country?
Yeah.
Thank you. That is that. You sent me a letter from the US. It's come to Britain. You've made some false claims in it. What jurisdiction owns that? Federal. It doesn't matter what country it's in. These are the codes taken from Cornell University, because I like their system. Yeah, you've got one for Australia and so on and so forth. If they want to know what we're talking about, they will type that in, and there they can go and reference it. And if they come back and say, well, it's US titles, say, tough luck, you should get out of federal system then. If, as David Windmiller, I'll get that name right soon, as he pointed out, if I'm married in this country, I'm married in every single country in this world. If I'm married in this country and I decide to go to a different country and get married, how the hell would they know that I've performed bigamy and prosecute me in that country or any other country? How do they know this? Because it's one system. Just as your national insurance is one system. Number, national insurance number.
The Western world's one banking system under one.
Yeah. They gave you the illusion that you're only married there. But the proof is always, it's out there. Because bigamy is a thing that you can be prosecuted in any country in the world. If I'm married in the US, I'm married in every single country in the world. You've got to get your head around that. You have to get your head around that. It's the same system. So they give you the illusion it's US codes. Well, no. It's not US codes. That's the fact. That's the cargo. That's the cargo. This is the point of reference from a reference library where you can go and find the laws pertaining to my statement, my claim, my accusation. That's just a code. That's just a reference point. As if you go to a library and SBI number blah, 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 go and get the book. That's all that means. Yeah. Yes, of course, they will use and they are trained in deflecting skills, which he's quite good at. Deflecting skills. They're just deflecting you. A crime is a crime. Bigamy is bigamy. Sorry, not bigamy. Bigamy. Yeah, you understand where I'm going with this, guys? If you interfere with the male in any country of the world, that's a federal crime. It's called a federal crime. Okay?
Does that mean post that isn't registered, recorded, special delivery, and if you just got a stamp on it, because I've lost post that I've got a stamp on, it's just, and there's no way for them to track it. So is it...
What's your question?
My question is, you said they're not allowed to interfere with post, but is there a definition of what post actually is? Is it something that only has special delivery, recorded delivery? Because you can have different categories.
Okay, I'll answer that question. Did you put it into a red box in this country?
Yes.
That's post.
They're responsible. But they tend to treat it very differently when you go to the counter. It's like if you
what counter?
Well, when you go to the counter, they get special delivery.
Okay, can you just kind of refine your question a little bit more for me so I can understand it better?
Why is there special delivery recorded delivery if it's all post?
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're learning.
The ordinary postage stamp is just the fee for freight for the cargo from going from this point to another, which is protected, full stop. The other mechanisms that you can use is like first class, second class, guaranteed delivery. It's just an opportunity to make different types of money, except the registered one. Except the registered one, the one that in this country costs £6 something. When you take that, when you take that, and do you remember they have lots of stickers on them, peeling off stickers? You stick one of those on inside the letter, and you keep a copy of it, and you stick that other sticker onto the copy that you have with the wet ink pen autograph. That becomes an original document guaranteed under federal law, because, now listen very carefully to that mechanism and the importance of the postmaster, what it means. This is physics. I'm going to go straight into physics. I have sent a registered letter to Errol. That registered letter is guaranteed by the post office that it will get to him and him only. And that the way that they do that is that it's delivered to him, and he has to produce evidence of his ID issued by the same people that are delivering the letter. Recognized forms of identification. Passports belong to them. Driving license belong to them because they're vessels. No, listen to the physics of it. No person, no man, woman can exist in that territory, the territory of the postal code pertaining to his letterbox, which is treated, which is another word of saying ordnance survey map coordinations, can exist in that same space, in that same time, with that same name, with that same two different type of ID, to be in possession of that document, contract, vessel, full stop. It's a near perfect system, been running for thousands of years. You've now got yourself a near perfect delivery system. That's physics, folks. That's physics. And when you take those stickers and you stick them onto your document, a copy of it, they become original. That's called a paper trail. Paper trail of evidence. Do you see the power of it? It's so simplistic, it's quite beautiful. And it's that beauty in which I use to incriminate them with. The lie, in order to perform a lie, I have to convince you of the authenticity of what I am selling you, and then underneath slip in the poison. For the things that we do, which is health, and what he does, which is health, I'm going to take you to a slightly different subject, just to bring in a little bit of the health side. In the 80s, there were an organization went global called the Guru Busters. Do you remember them? They used to go around and exposing all these voodoo doctors and all these shaman that were performing all sorts of tricks and stuff. And they were 100% authentic, self-funding, so on and so forth. A perfect vehicle to take over, because they spend all their money, all their time, creating real authenticity into that organization, and they are who they say they are. Once that's fully fledged and they got all the reputation that they need, the monsters come in, infiltrate it, and they use that same body of thought, that reputation they built themselves in the 80s and 90s, and now they go after not the real people, that the charlatans. They go after people like him, people like me, people like them. Yeah? To discredit it. And they run on it with the head of what it was in the 80s, which is a very reputable organization that really did bust the gurus, the charlatans of our world. And they use that, and in between they go after. That group are known as the skeptics. They're known as the skeptics. Now, remember, in order to be able to sell the lie, you have to create a near perfect system that appeals to all of your senses, or most of the senses. And Richard Dawkins is the one that set it up, the skeptic movement. And what did he create? The selfish gene, an ideology that is beautifully wired to the conscious mind to believe that you are individuals, that everything is survivalistic, and he created ideology. Ideology means it's self-fulfilling prophecy. When it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, it just goes round in your brain forever because you're locked into the pattern of survivalism. Everything is fight or flight. Everything is preying on each other. You are either a predator or a prey. Nothing in your nature is like that. Who gives you the illusion? The people that make the wildlife documentaries. What do they show you? You go to places of nature, like your back garden, it doesn't quite right. It doesn't see it. It's not really there. But if you're running on that ideology, you only get to see what they've told you. Like, for example, you buy a nice car that you wanted, and all of a sudden, lots of people are driving that car around because it's a observation-created reality. Observation-created reality, running on soft wire. That's the biological framework of that mechanism. It's called soft wiring. Your brain runs on soft wire, or the surface area. Picks up an ideology, makes connections, and long as those connections are there because you are seeing it and it's in your society, it's in your TV program, so on and so forth, those connections remain real and it seems real. It gives you the perception it's real. If the illusion is taken away, the synapses break and it goes looking for new patterns, and they create these ideologies for you. Marxism, selfish gene, all of it. Conservative, Labour, whatever it is, they just create it for you because your brain will go looking for those connections. The legislation says they have judicial immunity. You believe that? Of course you do. And there's the truth of it. They don't have anything of the sort. The illusion is that they're never there. If they're not there, they can claim anything they want.
Today, it appears a lot of mail is coming into us by privatised companies. Is that still under the jurisdiction of the UPU?
If it doesn't say Royal Mail, it's not.
Right, so that's how they're getting away with it, isn't it? Because they're not using the UPU.
Yeah.
They can't get done for mail fraud.
Correct.
And virtually all the mail that's coming from the public side today does not include a stamp.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why you must not be billed by email. It's very important. You must get your things by post. If it's by email, it doesn't mean anything. There's no real joinder. So there is no paper trail.
It hasn't got a stamp on it, and I don't recognise it.
Yeah.
And that's Royal Mail, UPU, not one of these independent companies, even
ENT and all them, yeah.
even though the post would be delivered that, but that's a different.
Now hold on a minute. If the postman has delivered it, then it's gone through the post office sorting office. That's instantly under jurisdiction of the UPU, post office, postmaster general. If it's hand delivered, it's just one private person trying to make contract with another. If it's delivered purely by anybody else other than the postman, it's got nothing to do with anything. Yeah, it's just people leafleting. It's like me selling pizza, whatever it is, you know, Chinese takeaway. Just treat it as that. So let's just hold your question for a second. You were going to ask me something?
No, I was just going to say, in November I got taken to magistrate court.
I can't hear you.
In November I went to the magistrate court for a speeding offence. They said I hadn't responded to the paperwork. They have the CPS there. It's cost them a lot of money, and she basically kept asking me what date I posted it, and I had posted it before I was out of the country, so I could answer it within 24 days. And then she asked me what part of the form I filled out. So I said to, doesn't say in anything that you sent me that I'm going to have to be answerable today for anything that I filled out. You brought me to court because you said you have failed to receive something I sent you in the post. Therefore, bring the post office to court, because once I put it in that post box, it's their property. She didn't know what to say. The magistrate found me not guilty, and off I went.
Yeah. Lovely. When it becomes...
And it's just common sense sometimes.
It is, yeah.
I said something, you're asking me questions.
Guys, no mini conversations for the time being. Just keep concentration, because somebody is sharing something quite relevant to you, which I'm going to up the ante with a little bit. So what she's saying is, if they haven't got it, then it's a mail problem. You go and sort it out with the post office. Yeah. Now, the way that you can prove that that has happened is that you can have your document notarized. That just simply means having a witness, an autograph across it where you would put it underneath. And notarized simply means to stick your thumbprint on there at the end of your autograph. Now that becomes two people, and two people make corporation, which means it holds a lot of weight. All the documents that I prepare have notarizations on them. Yeah? If you are a lone individual, you're not going to get very far. Yes, there are exceptions, I do agree, but you won't get very far working by yourself. If you don't have people backing your document, ain't going to happen. Okay? So you must have it notarized. And thank you very much for that. It's really common sense in many respects. And common sense is something that you guys don't really have. And when I say you guys, it's an accusation, so you can sympathize with the general public, how difficult it is for them to navigate through this corridor of madness. Yeah. Now I now understand what he's saying, which is that the letter that he's receiving in the envelope doesn't carry the date in which it went through the sorting office. And it carries a barcode which you cannot read. The answer to that is I don't know. But now that you pointed it out to me, I'll go and find out.
They're pretending. Sometimes they send you letters.
So what Sharia is saying, am I okay to mention your name? Yeah. What he's saying is that they are deflecting and they are avoiding, yeah, which are all the tactics of liars, cheats, and so on and so forth. You have facts, and as Miller points out, you know, liars figures don't lie. If it carries a barcode, the barcode can be read, yeah, and that is that. I'm sure if you go to your post office, I've just thought of something, and yeah, and they'll scan it, and it will be barcode. It will carry a barcode, and it goes into a ledger in the UPU. I know it's computerized, but it's there. Otherwise, they can't track mail.
And you could prove they are lying by giving, when you send like a...
The person that can answer that is the postmaster in the post office. I'm only the postmaster of that document. So if you go into your post office, they'll be able to answer all your questions. Not sub-post office, a post office. Okay, they'll be able to answer your question. And it will have postmaster on it. If you go to the US, first, when you walk in, you will see quite clearly posted, postmaster office. If you've got problems, you just go to him and talk to him. Courtrooms that can be held there. The trials of presidents can be held in there. Yeah, as Miller pointed out, when he was in Hawaii, the Postmaster General's court was completely destroyed overnight, so he doesn't walk in and have those judges prosecuted for mail fraud and all sorts of things. They leveled it in one day, so he can't use that courtroom.
That's an act of war.
Yeah, it is treason. Yeah, sorry.
Could I just make a little statement, something that I saw in the Bills of Exchange Act 1832? They actually do talk, 1882 is it? Yeah, they do talk about the use of the mail service and the settlement with promissory notes once you've put the document into the mail service. Settlement has actually been achieved at that point.
Yeah, because they stopped taking pound of flesh for money that you owe people or they owe you, which is what they agreed upon. And this maritime law that we're speaking about of what they call a prepaid account came through maritime when they said, well, all sailors will be now paid in advance into an account to safeguard their journey, and if they die in the process of being a sailor, then their wives and children can to get their money, which is the agreement that they came with internationally, and that's called a prepaid account. Your prepaid account is where your the International Monetary Fund puts their money into your prepaid account. Yeah, they float you for whatever it's worth, and all the real sweat equity goes out in exchange for fictional currency or fiat currency. And that's called a prepaid account. Please don't ask me how to access the prepaid account. I'm not going there. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Yes.
write to the Postmaster General, the woman that is sitting as the Queen, as Postmaster General, and inform her that the raw mail's been used?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. That's
We've been receiving
that's right. That's her role. That's her role. You see, the way that I know that is because her face is on there. That's how I know. Yeah, which is what we're doing. So, shall we take a break? Okay, I think I understand. Yeah. How is anybody a judge? Particularly David is what she's asking. You stick a postage stamp on, autograph it across, makes you judge. Full stop. You have a driving license, you're in your car, you're driving about, you're a judge. Because anybody that's less than a judge cannot navigate their roadworks and so on and so forth. You're a judge. If you're a pedestrian, you're a judge. These things are never outside of your zone. Their belief, their system is to get you to believe a judge has special ranking, that it's somehow specially endowed. Nothing of the sort, that you have to go through a particular process. The story that you've been hearing throughout this room is that they are not who they say they are. A judge is a person that's just walking from A to B, whether that's on paper or anything else, navigating his way through life, calculating the sums and differences as they go. That's a psychological phrase. I could add volume to that if you want, which would go back into the world of psychology. If you want, I can do that for you, but I need to know that, yes, what you guys want me to do. So those ones who want me to say yes. Do you want to know how it works?
Yes. Yes. How does it work? How does it work?
For me to do anything, for me to even move this from this, your subconscious throws out a grid pattern in front of you. It's all round you. It's all round you. And what it does, it calculates through the grid pattern the sums of differences, and it makes it so precise to be able to move this into my hand or play football or anything like that. That's called navigating your way through life, being poetic, calculating the sums and differences as I do. That's what makes you a judge. Now, when you watch films like The Matrix, you see a grid pattern, but this is what your subconscious does. It creates a grid pattern to measure the distances. When an eagle sweeps through and picks up a mouse by its ear and moves off, that's what it's doing. It's using the grid pattern. It's constantly calculating the sums and differences of those boxes in 3 dimensions. It's calculating the difference between this angle and this angle as the difference, known as the sums and differences. The subconscious does that. Long as that process is in your brain, you are the judge of who you are. You're going to have to understand that.
So he's not the judge like we have on our minds, dressed in black in the court. He's as judge as you are.
No.
People.
He knows the bureaucracies. He knows the bureaucracies to make himself a federal judge. He knows the bureaucracies. It's in here if you understand the language. It's the language, it's the parley that puts you in the framework that you are in, which is George Bernard Shaw. Yeah, Fabian. It's the language that moves you in and out of whatever jurisdiction. Parliament means to parley. Yeah? Members of a talking shop. That's why I don't do petitions. To who? To a talking shop? No, come. That's...
He says he's Freemason.
Okay. So what does a Freemason mean?
Stonework.
Yeah, that's correct. That means a Freemason. Does anybody know the origins of Freemasonry, how it all started and so on and so forth?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'll add a little bit of volume. Listen very carefully. Builders, right up to a certain point in your time, I think it was even like 80s, had full immunity. You had to go to the crown in order to persecute a builder, because they're the only ones that knew and understood geometry and so on and so forth. It was very prominent in the Dark Ages. That's how Freemasonry and all those sort of things came about, is that they were free Mason stoneworkers. The history lies in that. The stuff that you're talking about, well, that's that. The golf club, which I don't belong to, is full of pedophiles. What are you telling me? Yeah? The world that I live in is full of this and full of that. The football club that I support belongs to a Russian mafia boss. Come on. Yeah? You guys have to deal with these things yourself. If you got a problem with it, you deal with it. Yeah? So if you're talking about the negative connotations of becoming a Freemason, as to opposed to being free and a Mason who does a lot of work to liberate the Freemason movement, because it's in that book how they captured it, in Jack Otto's book, how they captured these organizations. It's all there. If you've got a problem with it, then you have to deal with it. I'm not here to deal with those sort of things. I'll give you a clue. And I was talking to Ray about it, I believe. Anybody tell me the difference between a Illuminati and Luminati?
First letter.
Illuminati means people of no light. Luminati means people of the light. They exist just like those titles. Yeah? It's just the language, you don't hear it. You don't hear the difference, Illuminati and Illuminatis. Yeah? They're openly telling you, we are the people of no light. We are the people of light. We are the people that are free Masons, free. Yeah? It's in the language.
I don't understand. Stoneworker free, but what then is a Freemason? What is, I don't understand. Is a Freeman?
That's what it means.
But what is a stoneworker then?
Yeah, it's a free stoneworker. A free stoneworker. If you wanted to prosecute a builder, say in the 18th century, you need to have the permission from the king or queen of that time. Because they're the only ones that had the skills of geometry, mathematics, building skills, and so on and so forth. And it was considered a sacred trade, a sacred profession that was full of knowledge. Yeah, and they were free. Judicial immunity. They weren't, of course. But the point is, if you go into the word and you create these negative connotations for yourself, then that's the world that you enter. And I'm not responsible for that. Yeah? That means you're running on connotation again. Somebody create a negative connotation, you run with it. If you believe Freemasons are all what they say you are, then let it be. I'm not responsible for that connotation. Yeah?
So then, when you said like the queen, the king, they have immunity, so then Freemason is the same, isn't it? They are the free men.
I don't understand the nature. Freedom. Sorry, go on.
Just to muddy the waters just a bit more, the French word for Freemason is franc-maçon. Franc-maçon.
What's that mean?
That means frank, honest, you know.
Okay, well, thank you.
Truth.
Well, there you go. Yeah?
Maçon means a mason or a builder or stoneworker.
Yeah. Okay. By this time, you guys should have an understanding that there are parallel agencies running in your world, and there are parallel organizations. If you want to speak to the Illuminatis, go ahead. If you want to speak to the people of the light, then ask the people of the Illuminatis. If you want to know what the facts are of a particular chemical that we work with, don't go and ask the World Health Organization, go and ask the Poison Index. They're running parallel to you. If you believe the judge is the king and the captain of his vessel, then help yourself to all the statutes that you want, that give you that judicial immunity. If you want the titles pertaining to the lie of it, it's there. All these things are in front of your face. It's called open flags operation. Your conscious mind cannot accept it, and hence cognitive, mental dissonance is created. And I thought it would be an opportunity to screen a small footage lasting a few minutes of cognitive mental dissonance, almost like a cartoon, but grasp the magnitude of what it's saying, and you get to see the explanatory depth that it offers. Thomas Carlyle said the value of a principle is the number of things that it explains. And the things that I offer are those principles. It's the number of things that it explains. The bureaucracies that I'm showing you is the number of things that it explains. If it explains 1001, then I'll reach for 10,001, and I'll keep going with it until it cannot explain anymore, then I chuck it out of the window. Yeah? The value of these things is the number of things that it explains, the solutions that it provides you with. Do you understand what I'm saying? I should say, do you comprehend what I'm saying? Because to understand means to stand underneath me. You guys up to speed as to what I'm saying? You must look for the explanatory depth, not the connotations, not the presumptions of the meanings of those words. It is just a word. Yeah? If I become a Freemason tomorrow, are you guys going to dismiss me? Are you going to burn me at the stake? Because you are likely to. Because that's how maddening all this is. You may be slightly losing track of what I am saying. Does here anybody know a little bit about Freemasonry and 30-degree Masons, 34-degree Masons? 34, is it? 34 degrees? Listen to what I have just told you. You gotta have to listen, and I'm sorry to patronize you. Listen to what I said. Freemasonry stops at 33. Freemasonry stops at 33 degrees. How the hell can it? Everything ends at 360 degrees. That's the illusion. Because you believe what you are told. I've told you the truth. Degree is the truth. That's the explanatory depth which I'm pointing out to you. Listen to the words. How can a degree finish at 33? That's how absurd, and I'm sorry to say this to you guys, and I do like you guys, that's how absurd you are. Yeah? 2 times 2 equals 3. Yeah. So, if you speak to Dr. Cole, he will tell you about the Club of 300. The Committee of 300, which he writes very authoritatively about. But missing one point. Where's the other 60 gone? That's the one you go looking for, and you've now into the world of who they are. The bureaucracies that I'm teaching you is the conduits that they travel through. That's the value of what is being said here. Not Freemasonry, not the assumptions, not the 30-degree Masons. It starts here, stops here. Within that sentence is all the things that you need to know. 30-degree Masons. If you believe that, you've just broken laws of mathematics. Yeah? There's 360 of them. That's the full circle. You go to a masonry hall, it's a round circle.
If he is a 92nd degree Mason.
Ask him. I know about to ask him. Because for me, it works, and he's educated me to a point where I can do this for entire nations. I'm not going to question it, and I'm able to safeguard so many people using his bureaucracy. It's the principle, it's the behavior that exposes the words, not the words and contrary behavior. Paleface speaks with forked tongue. He's never lied to me about anything. Everything that he says, I've referenced. Hence, I spent 2-3 years studying this damn thing, qualify every statement that he's made. I've done that. I qualified every single statement. Ask him. I used to disappear for a whole month. It's just don't disturb me 16 hours a day. Qualify every single statement.
I think we're looking for absolutes here, and there aren't absolutes.
Well, thank you very much. That's a good insight. When I rang Miller about a particular case somewhere, I think it's, yeah, he said to me, quite often people ring me, Mark, and ask me for standards. Every judge is different. Every judge is different. Okay? Some judges will bow to you. Other judges will spit venom at you. Yeah? There are no standards in this. It's you and you. Full stop. It's you and it's you. Would I be right in saying so, Toby? That's all there is.
I think something very pertinent you said was, I can't make judgments, and I think that is so key.
Well, thank you. I cannot pass judgment on you.
No.
I cannot. I won't do it.
No.
Yeah?
You can expand on that, but I think that's a good premise to go from.
Yeah. It's about creating closure in your life. How much do you know about yourself? Full stop. How much do you think you know about that person? Full stop. Yeah? Probably 50,000 trillion times less than you know yourself. Which is obvious, isn't it? Let's go into the world of mental cognitive dissonance. Let's take one more thing.
No, perfect.
Okay, because what we are actually experiencing is cognitive dissonance. Your conscious mind is kicking in. It's saying reject, reject, reject. It's known as the old sphere fighting with the new sphere of understanding. The synapses, and Richard Dawkins is an expert in this, Richard Dawkins that I mentioned, about how that that sphere of understanding, the actual synapses in your brain are now fighting not to break those connections, because it's invested a lot of energy, it's invested a lot of beliefs, emotional energy in maintaining that formation, and it doesn't want to break. So it will fight to regain control, which is called left brain dominance. Tony Wright writes about it wonderfully. So this particular footage of mental cognitive dissonance is quite comical, but it's lovely. Yeah? What I would like you guys to do is engross yourself with it. Okay? It's called stop and correct. You are duty bound, honor bound, as the citizens of this country or any other country, when you see a wrong being performed, to stop and correct it. Full stop. The manner in which you do it is to write it in the first-hand knowledge, not opinions or anything, first-hand knowledge. I saw this police officer do this. I saw this council person do this. This person issued this letter, and you notarize it just as I've described it to you, just as I've described it to you in all the previous videos, using those bureaucracies, and you put it into the federal system, the post office system, so they take delivery of it, and you call it a stop and correct notice. And you write everything in the here and now jurisdiction. Yeah? That's how easy these things are, and they can't ignore it. When I put something on, something like that for Michael, they withdrew the claim instantly. Instantly, because they knew the game was up. That took what? 6 hours of work and no more than 6 sentences, but each sentence was qualified. That's the stage where I am at. I have to look for the titles and so on and so forth. Miller can just reel it off his head. I can't. This is where Miller's technology kicks in. Because if you put that 200 hours in, you'll be able to access his technology, and then you'll be able to speak to me. Because you'll be able to tear that statement to pieces, because it's using fraudulent language. Yeah. By this stage, you know when a vowel followed by 2 consonants is a lie. You point it out, already have jurisdiction over them. And when you point out the inconsistencies that's being used, and there is a single fact on that document, you've now got yourself a fraudulent document extracting money from you and then you talk to them in the language of the here and now, putting those titles in, those things disappear. There's a saying, and I was going to share it with you. We have done so much with so little. It's the end sentence, that we are now qualified to do anything that we want, and I'm qualified to do anything that I want, and I can live on less than £5 and do what I do. I kid you not. Yeah? If you think you need lots of money to do what I do, you've just created a dissonance. I had to bridge it. I had to find it within myself to be able to do that, because fear did kick in. It's not usual for me not to have money. Yeah? I bridged it. I thought, hey, you know, daily bread, that's all I'm promised. Daily bread, not yearly bread. You know, a stockpile of something. That's all I'm ever promised. The here and now jurisdiction, this moment. I cannot tell you what's going to happen the second. I can tell you what's going to happen now, nothing else. And that's the only thing I'm in control of. If you can bring that, if you can bring yourself to do that, you will be able to do lots and lots of things. Lots of things. If you believe money is a barrier for you to do what you need to do, it ain't going to happen. Because all the money in the world is not going to be able to create that illusion for you. Yeah? This is much about personal development as it is about anything. Thanks to the work of people like Russell and Miller, we now have technologies, verbal technologies, written technologies, that give us power back to where it belongs. I don't even use words like power because they're all fictional language. There is only man, there is only me. There is man and there is woman. That is all. Yeah? I have no power. I certainly don't have will. I have thinking. That's what I have, and that's what I share with people. And that can buckle an entire government. And you'll see that happen.
Come on, stop there. What do you mean you don't have will?
I just told you what I just told you. I don't have will. I do have thinking. One of the things that they did, the corrupt people that corrupted your language, is that they took the meanings out, they took the words out and gave you prefixes. They gave you prefixes. And where there needs to be less words, they put in more words. So you can never access your own thoughts. Most of the prefixes are all just lies. Look it up. Look it up in the dictionary in Google right now. Any word that begins with a vowel followed by two consonants is the very direct opposite of what you think it was. Just look it up. You've got cell phones. Google will give you all that information. Any word that starts as a single vowel, used as a single syllabus, syllable, beg your pardon, single syllabus, is a lie. Look it up. It means the direct opposite. Look up the word pharmaceutical, what it means, what you thought it meant. It will say in plain sight in dictionary, it's the maker of poisons. And that's the power that you have, because you caught them out telling the truth.
What was that? Every vowel followed by two consonants?
Yeah, you could just, it's all over the Facebook, it's all over Miller's videos, it's on my videos. Just look it up. It's there in plain sight. Just know those two things, just those two things, you can disqualify most documents. Yeah? Just those two things which I said will disqualify it. You point out the judge, well, you know, A, B means no, so exactly what is it that you're talking about? Yeah?
So what was the second thing? The vowel and two consonants, and the other thing?
Is any word, any vowel used as a single syllable, I beg your pardon, is also a lie. And there you'll see who's operating that system. You'll find it's the people that are corrupting your language and so on and so forth. Just like Illuminatis and Illuminatis. Now you know there's a huge difference. You now can speak to the right people. Yeah.
Can I just say, in all your documents, if there's any sentences with the words, and there's more than one space, you know, if you were typing, you hit one space, that means all the sentences are disconnected.
It's called a break-in.
So it's a load of nonsense.
It's called a break in continuity. A break in continuity. They're not following one sentence with the other. Yeah? That's a lie. That's a lie. Do you remember I said about the shopping list? I can give you a shopping list of all the items that I want, but if I give you all the shopping list of all the items I don't want, you'll be searching for it for the rest of your life. Know what you know, and those are the only things that matter. Yeah? You look up those two things, and it will be right in front of your face, and it was always in front of your face, just like any terror attack as opposed to a guerrilla attack. It's always in front of your face. Yeah? Yeah.
So those of us who are here with maybe current or live issues, having listened to you today, what would you recommend as the next step?
The next step is listen to these talks, work out what's being said on a personal level for yourself. In other words, make it your own. Make it your own. Personalize it. None of these general statements. Really personalize it and go to work on it. Like some of the people here have done. So you have to personalize it. You have to take full jurisdiction of it, rather than a philosophical statement that doesn't apply to you. If you've got a problem, you can apply all these things to it. You're going to have to learn at some point, just like Toby and everybody else, to syntax. Yeah? And I'll hold another seminar, since a healthy number has turned up, say in 5 or 6 weeks' time, wherever it is, and you guys come along and I'll teach you how to syntax those documents. Okay? Meanwhile, for some proprietary work, look up David Wayne Miller's videos on syntaxing. Learn it. Speak to me. If it's open flags, what's known as flag etiquettes, they leave you alone. They can only character assassinate you, as opposed to physically assassinate you. Use open flags. Put everything out in the open. Use Facebook, YouTube. Make friendship with each other. Okay? I go out of the way to put it into the truth, as it were. Yeah? I make sure that they know what I'm doing. Anything else?
Who are they?
Who are they? Those people that monitor these things. That's they are. Are you referring to a particular group of people?
Well, I mean, lots of people talk about they, and they have different ideas as to who they are.
And it's like you say,
Council, what their business is, what their agenda is, what their will is, because they seem to have a collective will, don't they? You don't have a will, but they have a collective will.
If you say so, they have, yeah.
From my observation, they do. Because they've written about it and they've spoken about it.
I'm not quite sure if you're making a statement or asking a question.
Right. I will ask you who your concept of they is.
Okay.
That's all.
Can I have an opportunity to answer?
Sorry?
Can I have an opportunity to answer? Who are they? Devolution. That's who they are. Devolution means every single council is the government of the territory that they're running. It's not a territory, it's a state. So I live in Newham. It's the state of Newham, and they have all the power that a centralized government has to control me. So they think. That's who they are if it's regional. If it's country-wise, it is wherever you are at that moment. So if it's Errol, it is Westminster Council. That's who they are. If it's global, it's usually the ones that are controlling the UPU. That's who they are. If you want to know their names, look up the IMF family. Once you found their names, the names will change the very next day, because they change names all the time. When we spoke to Russell, I went to Montana to speak to Russell. What he told me is when he had a meeting with the IMF family, he was talking to this gentleman. You know, these are some of the most powerful people. These are some of the most powerful people in the world. One particular one, he said he was walking down the corridor to explain to him the manipulation of the language, and that you don't really have what you think you have. That man, when he was walking along, dived into the nearest corner and put his hand up and asked his bodyguards to take this man away and started shivering in his boots. I know that behavior. That's a xenophobe. But they got you to believe xenophobia is the fear of Jewish people. It is not. Xenophobes are people that are frightened of strangers. They cannot do what you do. They have no commercial energy. They have no creative energy. They cannot create sweat. They cannot create sweat equity by the sweat of their brow. They have none of it. The level of disability is quite profound in them. The fear element is quite profound. It's called xenophobia. Look it up. Like all things, dualities in meaning, triple meanings, and so on and so forth. So that's what Russell shared with me. Yeah, he started shivering because Russell saw that he is not who we say he was. Yeah, and this is a man that would run an entire defense force, arms force as well. You have arms force and you have weapons force. Yeah, you can be a licensed arms dealer, but not a licensed weapons dealer. Only the world of lies can perform that.
The fear that if you could say, the IMF families or that grouping lives in is palpable. Some of you might have well gone to the Bilderberg event that was staged at Watford. The hotel there, for a tea party, according to our wonderful politician Kenneth Clark, was surrounded by a £10 million double razor-wired electrified fence, if that doesn't show fear.
Can I add a little bit? Yes, I will come on to that. I was going to his dance club on Friday, and I don't have a car or anything, so I use the transport. And I got off a train station called Arnold Grove. Is it Arnold? Arnold's Grove. Beautiful looking station, very ornate. I looked around. There were 33 cameras looking at me. There were cameras from the platform surrounding me, you know. I kid you not, go there. It's a beautiful looking station, very ornate. The cameras are everywhere. They're looking at, what is it that I'm saying? I'm expanding upon what you are saying. The level of fear in these people is quite profound. This is a species of man and woman that exists in your world. They're called xenophobes. You can meet them. They will see you. But they'll see you under their terms and conditions in full surroundings. If you have that condition, you'll go to great lengths to protect that. It's called xenophobia. It's not the fear of Jews. Get rid of that. Yeah? They create these dualities, these parallel agencies, Illuminatis, Freemasons. So, sometime during this month, we'll be going into court to teach people that I'm teaching at the moment how to control judges. Okay? So I will put it out there. It's up to you to come along and witness that. Okay? So I'll be doing those things as a demonstration. And I will put myself on the line, as it were, to teach you guys how to do this for yourself. Once you learn it, you have to teach other people how to do it. If you don't and you keep it with yourself, I'll leave it up to you. Okay?
When you're doing the call.
It's up to you to make contact with me by text message, making sure that I have your details. As you know, I don't ask for your details. Listen, guys, you don't want to go into court by yourself, and at any cost you want to get out of the courts until you're good enough to be able to navigate your way through. For some people, this is not a luxury. And as a result, I've helped a few people and safeguard them. But if you go into court, you're very vulnerable by yourself. You always want to go in as a corporation, as a fellow, okay? A fellowship.